Hello and welcome to ECN. We deliver, you decide. Kamala Harris faces mounting pressure as border crisis heats up.
Welcome to ECN EuroConnect News, where we deliver and you decide. In today's critical update, we dive into Vice President Kamala Harris's latest visit to the U.S Mexico border, a politically charged trip that has everyone talking. With border security as one of the most contentious issues in America, Harris faces growing pressure from both sides of the aisle. Vice President Kamala Harris has made a high-stakes visit to the U.S Mexico border, arriving in Douglas, Arizona, in a bid to confront one of the most politically divisive issues of our time. With Republicans hammering the Biden administration on immigration, Harris has promised tougher security measures, aiming to project a sense of leadership on border control. During her speech, Harris laid out a plan to combat the surge of illegal drugs, especially fentanyl, which she labeled a top priority for her presidency. She pledged more resources for Border Patrol agents, including advanced fentanyl detection machines. Harris also called out China for its role in supplying precursor chemicals for fentanyl production, pressing for immediate action. But this visit is about more than drugs and border patrols. Harris stressed the importance of maintaining American sovereignty while also advocating for a safe, orderly, and humane immigration system. This dual focus has sparked intense debate among Americans who remain divided on how best to handle the ongoing border crisis. While her approach seeks to balance enforcement with compassion, critics argue that it falls short. Former President Donald Trump, her chief rival, dismissed the trip as mere political theater, accusing Harris of flip-flopping on border policy just to win votes. In a fiery statement, Trump said, "Harris can fly to the border all she wants, but until she tells the president to shut it down, nothing will change." Polls suggest Trump is gaining traction on this issue, with more voters believing in his hardline approach to border security. According to a CBS News poll, 58% of likely voters see the U.S. Mexico border as a key factor in deciding who they will support in the upcoming election. For Harris, this trip is not just a policy stop. It's a pivotal moment in her campaign. With the Biden administration moving to cement stricter asylum laws, Harris aims to show voters she's tough enough on immigration, while ensuring America remains a land of opportunity for those who follow the rules. As we await further developments, we ask, is Kamala Harris doing enough to address the border crisis, or are Republicans right to be skeptical? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to ECN EuroConnect News for more in-depth coverage. Stay informed, stay connected.
Trump suggests Putin wants peace, while Zelensky pushes for victory. Can both sides be right?
Welcome to ECN EuroConnect News, where we deliver and you decide. In today's deep dive, we examine a surprising moment between former President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. As the Russia-Ukraine war rages on, Trump insists that Putin wants peace, but Zelensky stands firm, arguing that the war shouldn't have begun at all. What does this mean for Ukraine, the U.S., and the upcoming election? In a headline-grabbing moment, Donald Trump suggested that Russian President Vladimir Putin is ready to end the devastating war in Ukraine. Trump made the remarks alongside Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during their first meeting in 5 years at Trump Tower, setting off a firestorm of debate on both sides of the Atlantic. "I'm sure President Putin wants it to stop," Trump told Fox News in a bold statement, describing the conflict as a dispute that could be settled with a fair deal if he returns to the White House. Trump, however, stopped short of blaming Putin for the invasion or the mass devastation it caused. He framed the conflict as a situation where both sides want peace but lack the right mediator. Standing beside him, Zelensky's expression told a different story. The Ukrainian leader remained diplomatic, but there was no mistaking his message. "This war shouldn't have started," Zelensky said, reminding the world that Putin's forces are occupying Ukrainian territory and that no peace can come without pressuring Russia to stop the war. Zelensky, dressed in his now iconic olive green sweatshirt, stood in stark contrast to Trump's polished suit and red tie, underscoring the ongoing battle his nation faces on the ground. Zelensky's concerns are clear. With just weeks before the U.S. election, he is aware that Trump has a strong chance of winning, and if he does, the future of U.S. support for Ukraine hangs in the balance. Trump's stance has long been viewed skeptically in Ukraine. He once called Putin's invasion genius and has repeatedly claimed he could end the war in 24 hours. But for Zelensky and the Ukrainian people, these remarks bring up fears that Trump would pressure Ukraine into a deal that could force them to cede territory to Russia. In Friday's meeting, Trump expressed confidence in striking a swift deal if elected, insisting, "I think we can work something out that's good for both sides." But experts remain divided. Seth Jones of the Center for Strategic and International Studies argued that Putin isn't interested in any peace deal that doesn't reward Russia with permanent control of the Ukrainian lands it seized. For Ukraine, capitulating to such terms would only invite further aggression. Trump's comments raise important questions about how the U.S. would approach the conflict under his leadership. Would Trump's approach lean toward compromising Ukraine's sovereignty, or could he deliver a lasting peace that protects the region? The stakes are higher than ever, as a fragile peace might leave NATO's eastern flank vulnerable to future Russian expansion. Zelensky, walking a fine diplomatic line, reminded viewers of what's truly at risk. Putin can't win, and Ukraine has to prevail. For Zelensky, this isn't about negotiation, it's about survival. His mission is clear: secure more American weapons and build a stronger position to pressure Russia into meaningful concessions.
39 lives lost, 4.5 million without power, ongoing coverage.
Hurricane Helene, now downgraded to a post-tropical cyclone, continues to wreak havoc across the southeastern United States. Despite weakening, the storm's historic impact includes catastrophic flooding, widespread destruction, and a rising death toll that has reached at least 39 across several states. Record-breaking storm. Helene made landfall near Perry, Florida at 11:10 p.m. ET Thursday, unleashing 140-mile-per-hour winds. This marked the first recorded Category 4 hurricane to strike Florida's Big Bend region since 1851. The storm surge was unprecedented, reaching up to 15 feet in some areas, leaving coastal towns like Steinhatchee in ruin. Flooding and widespread power outages. In addition to the physical destruction, Helene left 4.5 million utility customers without power from Florida to Virginia. The storm caused flash floods and torrential downpours across Georgia, the Carolinas, and Tennessee, triggering hundreds of water rescues and prompting flood alerts throughout the region. In Tennessee, a dam failure scare led to the evacuation of downtown Newport, although it was later revealed to be a false alarm. Rivers, such as the Pigeon River in Tennessee, rose to nearly 3 times their flood stage. Communities in crisis coastal towns like Horseshoe Beach were especially hard hit, with homes destroyed or severely damaged by the surge and wind. Bill and Debbie Dotson, residents of the area, are among the many forced to rebuild after losing staircases and witnessing floodwaters climb above 15 feet. In Georgia, over 115 structures in Valdosta were heavily damaged, with rescue crews still pulling people from floodwaters. Widespread flooding also shut down major highways, including sections of Interstate 40 between Tennessee and North Carolina, a regional emergency. As emergency declarations were issued across 5 states, FEMA teams were on the ground providing assistance. However, the devastation stretches across the entire southeastern U.S., and recovery is expected to be a long and difficult process. President Joe Biden approved emergency declarations for Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and the Carolinas ahead of the storm's impact, allowing for federal resources to be deployed to assist local authorities. More than 900 flights were canceled, and over 3,300 flights were delayed due to the dangerous weather. Resilience amid disaster. Despite the devastation, many in the affected areas are showing remarkable resilience. Danielle Norwood, a marina owner in Steinhatchee, whose property was once again destroyed after last year's Hurricane Idalia, remained hopeful. "We'll build back. We're those kind of people," she said. determined to restore her livelihood. A growing death toll. The toll on human life continues to mount. In South Carolina, at least 19 people have died, while Florida and Georgia each reported multiple fatalities. As the storm travels inland, authorities are bracing for more deaths as search and rescue operations continue. Long-term effects and recovery. Although Helene has weakened, the danger is far from over. Tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, and more flooding remain threats as the storm's remnants travel further inland. The full scope of the damage will likely take weeks to assess, with entire communities left in ruins. Stay tuned to ECN for updates on this developing disaster, and for those affected, please continue to heed the advice of local authorities as recovery efforts begin.